welcome to the Post-Human Podcast.
Welcome to the Post-Human Podcast. Today's guest, the legendary American actor, director, writer, comedian and producer, Larry Hankin. So how are you today, sir?
So far, so good. You know, I'm just staying away from Homo sapiens and I'll be fine.
That's probably one of the best answers I've had to the start of a show. I can agree with you. Staying away from Homo sapiens is a good thing to do sometimes. It can certainly reduce stress levels. So let's crack straight in. Obviously, you have a huge body of work. There's nigh on 200 films, 197, if my researching was correct. You have been in so many of my favorite films. I'll reel off a quick list. The one of my first ones I want to mention, because it's one of my dad's favorite films, is Escape from Alcatraz. We played Charlie Butts. I'm a huge Clint Eastwood fan. A big fan of that film. Obviously, you've Planes, Trains and Automobiles with Steve Martin. Home Alone. You know, you've been in another one of my favorite comedies growing up as a kid, Billy Madison. There's so many TV series you've been in. You know, Home. One of the ones that I will mention is Home Improvement. It's a rarity. It was I remember it from my childhood. You've been in everything. Seinfeld, Friends. You can name it, and you have been in it. A huge body of work, and you still continuing.
I can't explain it. I just went to auditions. That's like the 60s and 70s and 80s. Well, not the 60s, but the 80s and 90s. All I was doing was auditioning. So it just mounted up, and I didn't keep count, and I didn't remember. I didn't keep count of the shows. So now you have all the detritus of my auditions.
That's a good word. That's a really good. That's a word that very rarely comes around.
I very rarely get to use it, but thank you for allowing me the possibility.
So, obviously, when you started, what got you into acting? I mean, you've been around and been in the game.
I never have until this very moment talking to you. I never wanted to do anything really. I'm kicking my. Wait a minute. There you go. Okay. I never really wanted to do anything. So I went to college I got a degree in industrial design because my parents wanted me to support them in their old age, get a profession. And so I did that because I was a good son. I was inculcated into honoring my parents. So I did that, but that was the last thing. And that was a very conscious thing. I said, okay, I'm going to go to college, and then our deal is off. That's it. I fulfilled my contract as a good son. So I went to college, I got my degree, and then I got together with my best friend at college, which is Carl Gottlieb, who wrote Jaws and all those movies. Well, he didn't write them then, so we didn't know about all that. And I asked him where he was going after graduation. He said he's going to Greenwich Village. He's going to become a writer. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. I didn't want to I didn't want to be an industrial designer. I really didn't want to be anything. I just knew my contract was over with my parents. And so I said, all right, let's go to Greenwich Village. Let's see what that's about. I had gone to Detroit, the college, and Ford Motors.
Wow.
Flew me to Detroit to see the place. Ford and Chevrolet, they got I was an A student. I was really cool. Those are my paintings. I'm an artist, Oh, wow. But what I saw was I didn't like what was there. I kept on saying the wrong thing. Like I would pick up a piece of a little plastic car that was on the designer's desks in Detroit, and and I'd be looking at it. So the guy giving us the tour, the A students tour, and he said, "Oh, you really like that?" And I go, "No, actually, I was picking it up and looking at it because I actually expected more from Ford Motors. I don't think this is really that cool." And he goes, "You don't like it?" And I go, "Well, no, not really." He said, "The head of the department designed that." And I said, "Well, okay." I said, "Okay." But in my head, what I said was, there's nothing I can say in this city that will be okay.
Right. Okay.
I don't belong here. I mean, because I said a couple of other things where he kept on marking, "Oh, you don't like that, huh?" So
It seems
when we got back, they said, "Send us your best students except Larry Hankin." So I got the hint. So we went to Greenwich Village, and I was just he was writing, Carl was writing, and um, I was sweeping up duck boards in a bar from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. And I thought it was the best job I could get. I really never looked back on Detroit. I thought it was fine. I thought it was great. I was just earning my keep. But I was going to Monday night and Tuesday night open mic nights in Greenwich Village, the coffee houses,
right. Okay.
because I had to wait to go to work at 2 a.m. So I'd hang out at the coffee houses until I had to go to work. And there was these open mic nights. And I was voted funniest in high school 2 years in a row, my junior and senior year. And so I thought, hey, I can do that. Wait a minute, I'm funnier than those guys. Well, not so fast, Mr. Hankin. Uh, it's different, making your friends laugh and making an audience
Yeah.
laugh. It's two different animals. So, but my learning curve was pretty cool. I mean, I said, okay, it's not as hip. I'm not as hip as I thought I was, but I just kept at it. My mantra was, oh, I can do it better next time. That's all that kept me going. Oh yeah, but I can do it better next time. And I kept on doing it, and I did. I got better next time. That for all you students out there, doing it, practice. Doing it makes you better.
You have to practice your
Weird.
craft. Whatever it is, you have to practice. It's like
How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, man.
practicing a lot of hours. That's
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah. And I
time.
see, and I was a lazy guy. I didn't want to do anything. So, but for some reason, I wanted to make people laugh. I just became a challenge. Why aren't they laughing? So in about 6 months, then I was opening for Woody Allen and Miles Davis and Kingston
Wow.
Trio, and so I was doing okay. I learned my craft, and I was doing it well. But I started to get into critical thinking, humor, and that wasn't Woody's. I was opening for Woody Allen. That wasn't their kind of humor. I mean, and the weird thing was, Woody's, and anytime I open for any comedian, because I open for a lot of them, there you have to find your audience, because just because they came to laugh at Woody Allen didn't mean they came to laugh at me.
Yeah, they're not going to resonate with you necessarily, are they?
Yeah. So I started to get that as I was learning and getting better at my craft and opening for Woody and traveling. My laughs were getting smaller, and his laughs were getting bigger. And I thought, this is not my audience. I got to find my own. So what do
you think the main reason was? Just because you was doing critical thinking.
Because I was saying fuck on stage and talking about marijuana.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
it's very simple.
Being blue rather than clean. Okay.
Well, I call it critical.
Critical.
I was talking about politics. I mean, it wasn't just that. It was the subjects that I was talking about and the way I was framing it.
Got you.
There's a point of view there that wasn't carrying.
No, I get that. I understand. I mean, anyone.
And
it's like like you say, if you're in the playground and you can sit and tell jokes to your friends, they're like jokes, but if you're on stage, you can make a lot of really decent points and weave a lot of humor into it, and it makes you. It's kind of what I try and do myself.
Exactly.
It's really tricky. You have to
It
take
is,
a lot of
and you
steps
can't
back
get
from
around it.
No, it's,
You can't say, no, I'm gonna keep talking to Woody Allen's audience until they laugh. No, it doesn't work that way. I mean, the subjects that I was talking about, they just didn't care about. But I did notice that audiences do come, I mean, to a comedian like, say, Woody or stuff like that. People like him, stand-up comedians, they do come to laugh. In other words, if they're coming to your show and they're your fans, they want to laugh. That's why they're there. That's why they didn't go to a concert, a music concert. They came to laugh. So, all those little subtle ways of gauging the room and the audience. So I started to get the hang of it. But then finally, I was doing the Playboy circuit, which was very interesting experiment, because that's certainly not critical thinking humor. But I was but I would get it. I was getting by. It was a gig, you open for a singer or something like that, not a comedian. And then you get by, you do your job. It's okay. So I was on the tour, but Hugh Hefner invited me on called Playboy at Night. They had a half-hour TV show.
yeah.
So he invited me on the show, and that was a special. That was like a boom, a step up. First you're opening for coffee houses, Woody Allen, your own people, TV, Playboy Club. So I got on, and I was on there with the Smothers Brothers, who I didn't know were fans of mine, my stand-up, because they had heard about me. Maybe they come to see a show that I was in, whatever. I never opened for them. So they were there, and friends, because it was so special, friends came to see me. They came to the show to sit in the audience, TV show. And they came backstage to the green room, and I was around drugs all the time. I mean, I opened for musicians, and they were doing marijuana.
70s.
Yeah. So, but I never did. I mean, I was around it. I talked about it. All my friends did it, but I just never was curious. I didn't think I needed it. I mean, I wasn't against it. I wasn't for it. I just, okay, I was something else. So they came and they said, hey, you're going to get high before the show. Now, nobody had ever said that to me before. They all knew I just didn't smoke. They would smoke around me. Maybe I got a contact high or something. But I said, well, I don't get high before I don't get high. So they said, well, you got to get high, man. It's Playboy, TV. Hey, man, rock and roll. So I said, okay, what did you bring? Because I don't have any. So they brought hash. Now, hash is really powerful, man. So I said, okay, I figured it's drugs are drugs. I don't know. And so I just took they brought a pipe, and okay, great. And then all of a sudden it hit. And then the guy says, okay, Mr. Hankin, you're on.
You're on. Wow.
So I went on and I sat on the couch, and there was Hugh Hefner sitting on the arm of the couch. And then there was a Playboy girl, Bunny, next to me. And then there was me. And then there was another Playboy Bunny. And then there was Tommy and Dickie Smothers. And then there was another Playboy girl. And that was the frame. And then Hugh Hefner and I, and generally interviewers set you up for your shtick. They'll ask you a question that gets you to your material.
Yeah.
So he did that. Hugh Hefner did that. Well, Larry, what do you think about bubblegum? And I went, oh yeah. Well, bubblegum is it's kind of funny because it's like marzipan, and then you could see what's going on. And Tommy, I didn't understand. I didn't realize that Tommy knew my act. Tommy knew my act, so he kept poking me like this, across, I guess, from the other. Oh no, what's this? What's this?
That's all right.
What the heck is going on?
Is this part of the act?
Help! I don't know what this is.
What's it on?
I can't shut it off. I don't even know what it is.
I'm sure it'll turn off.
What the?
I wouldn't worry
Okay,
about
well,
it.
it's like, is this the Playboy Club? Am I high? Did you give me something? Okay, so anyway, what I was saying was, Tommy said, "No, Larry, tell him about," and he started feeding me my set, my stuff. Larry, tell him about, the marzipan and the monkey. Tell him about that. And I'm going, "Oh yeah, the monkey, yeah." And then Hugh understood totally. I mean, he saw that. And he goes, "Okay, well, thank you very much. Let's talk to Tommy and Dickie Smothers." And they just got me out of there. They just, and then I was canceled from all the Playboy. So that was a quick lesson
really
in
Bubble
critical
gum
humor,
like marzipan.
or getting high before a show, or that. Yeah, whoa. So I never did that again. I did eventually get high, on my own. Oh, let me try that.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, that was down the road. So that's how I got into show business. A long story, longer.
It was a great story. I was going to, again, some of my questions were, have you got any wild stories? Because again, you've been in the industry for a long time, and
For a long time,
there's probably a hell of a lot of stories. And
well, I wrote a book. We'll talk about that later.
yeah,
but I
we'll
wrote
get
a
to
book
we'll get to the
about it.
we'll get to the
Right.
books. I'd like to
Yeah.
read that just for my own humour, because I mean, even that just that as a story, and then as a build up that bubblegum is like marzipan. It's just as a line itself, it's just so funny. And then when you think about it, you go, "Oh man!" Again, it's got tears coming out of my eyes. So, obviously, growing up, you're from New York. What was it like growing up in New York?
Well, I had a tough time, really. Bullies, a lot of bullies, because bullies don't like funny kids. It
Makes sense,
takes
actually.
away from their aura. And so I was a funny kid. So I was pushed around a lot on the playground. I had a lot of friends who came to my aid because they liked humor, and so I had bodyguards.
Right. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you. Okay, here's like a friend in high school. I had a girl friend who I think I had one or two classes with. She's very pretty. Had a crush on her, but she had a boyfriend. Didn't bother me. I mean, I just liked talking to her, and we would hang out after the class. I would walk her to her next class, but nothing. Just friends. So one day after school, I'm walking to the bus. She takes a bus somewhere. I don't know. So I'm walking, and all of a sudden, this guy comes over. I never met him, but it was her boyfriend. And he goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" And she says, "Oh, he's just walking me to the bus." And I go, "Yeah, I'm walking her to the bus." She says, "Oh, that's my girlfriend." And I go, "Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I'm just walking her to the bus." And he starts pushing me around. He says, "You stay away from her." And she's going like, "No, leave him alone. We're not doing anything. He's just a friend." And he wants to fight, man. He just like, and he's poking me.
Yeah,
And,
I get you, yeah,
and then he hits my books out of my hand and stuff. And then a crowd gathered. So now there's going to be a fight because
the crowd.
there's a crowd. Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, an audience wants a show.
Yeah.
Can I do stand up? No, this is a fight. This is a fight. So he's like boom, boom, and he hits the books, and I go, and I'm picking up my books, and she is telling him, and she's going, no, leave him alone. We're just friends. And in my mind, all I'm thinking is, shut up, Joni. Let him beat me up. I don't want a girl protecting me. No, that's worse. I'd rather fight. And it's embarrassing. But she keeps it up. So finally, a couple of the other guys say, "Hey, man," and then the crowd started to dissipate because no, there's not going to be a
Nothing's
fight.
going on.
He's,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
a blah, 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 blah. So the whole brings up, okay. 3 days later, I'm in the cafeteria, the high school cafeteria, and I see this guy, who is pushing me around, the boyfriend. He comes in, his arm is in a sling. He's got a broken arm. So I go, wow, man. That was the guy who was going to beat me up a couple of days ago, man. Now he's got good for him. Ha 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 ha. So the guy says, don't you know what happened? And I go, no, what happened? He said, yeah, that was the guy that beat you up 3 days ago. He pushed the books out of your hand, right? Yeah, why? He said, you go and pitch a baseball game. I used to mime pitching a baseball game during lunch hour on the baseball field. There's nobody there. I would get on the mound and do a mime comedy, baseball game, and hitting the ball and everything. So you do that thing during lunchtime, right? You go, yeah. He says, well, a couple of guys that think you're really funny beat the hell out of them. Really?
Just from watching.
Yeah, they don't want him touching you.
That's brilliant.
Broke his arm. So
wow.
they broke his arm.
That's
Well, I
crazy.
mean, there was a fight, and in the fight, it was like, I think 2 or 3 guys got on him. It wasn't just one guy, but a couple of guys. But those are my comedy pals. My bodyguard.
Justice was definitely served that day, you know.
So I saw there is a power to humor, even though it kind of goes around and once removed. But and it does work. I mean, I used it to get out of a lot of situations and stuff. But yeah, so I was always getting these guys who thought I was too funny. That was, somebody said that you're, like there was a gang or something. And some Hells Angels came in to see a show I was doing in a coffee house when I was in the committee. This is years later. I mean, I was an established person. But I would also do a little, like 10 minutes. I would, during a break or in between shows, I'd go to a coffee house down the street from the theater. And I just, go in and do a couple of minutes, just try out some
Would
stuff.
that have been around like the Hunter S. Thompson times?
Yeah, right. And so the Hells, and I would do motorcycle shtick.
Yeah.
So the Hells Angels go, hey man, yeah, it's really cool. You ride a motorcycle, and I go, yeah, because these guys rode, fat boys and motorcycles. I said, well, I ride a Honda, 250 cycles, CCs. Yeah, right, exactly. That's what he did. So he goes, really? Oh, you mean that's your little red Honda out front? And I go, yeah. I didn't want to admit that to him, but he pointed it out. I said, yeah. He said, well, listen, if you have any trouble with it, like you need parts or anything, let us know. I go, oh, wow, yeah. How come? He said, yeah, we steal them all the time. We got parts for them. Yeah. I said, I said, so I say, how the hell? Because now I was fascinated. You steal these all the time? Yeah. I said, well, I had it locked. Well, locked. I had the handlebars locked so it only turned one way or around the wheels. I said, how do you steal them? He goes, you just pick them up and throw them on the back of a truck. No big deal. I go, oh. So I was from then on, I would always lock it to something. But they protected me, but hey man, leave them alone, hey man. So it kind of worked throughout my career. And then finally, but after a while, no, guys were coming at me as I grew older and got into show business. Guys were coming at me with beer bottles. Cops were pulling me off the stage. I mean, it was the 70s and 80s, and Lenny Bruce, the cops were just killing him. Yeah. I mean, they were driving him to drugs. That's what they were doing. They were making him. So, I just, it was growing up, and I grew up in a very in a vacuum. I had no input. It was a very,
Right, okay.
there's nothing going on in my house. My parents were intellectually they just didn't care about any reading or books or anything. So I would, yeah, I grew up in a bubble. So when I got out of, when I started going away to like college, which is why I wanted to go to college, away. You know, I was like a whole new world opened up. And then when I got to Greenwich Village, I had never, that was like amazing. It was like another planet.
Yeah, but
And that's what
paradigm
opened my
shift, isn't it,
mind
really?
to other stuff, you know, other stuff, show business.
So obviously all the stuff you've done, what's been some of the most favourite things that you've worked on throughout the whole body of your work?
What is my favorite thing?
Yeah.
Well, Escape from Alcatraz is probably number one, just because it was the first big movie I ever made. And I was on it for 3 months, and we were shooting on location in Alcatraz
Yeah.
on the island. So I was there for 3 months, and you know, the whole it just opened my mind up to movies and making movies and acting and directing and crews and lighting. I'd never, I mean, this was a major motion picture that I was, you know, out of San Francisco as a stage actor, as a, you know, Second City improv guy. Because finally I couldn't take the beer bottles. The guy saying, "Get the fuck off the stage." I was
The
opening
heckling and
for
all the shit. Yeah, yeah.
Kingston Trio is what did it. I was opening for the Kingston Trio, Jack's on the Highway. And I was talking about naked Homo sapiens. I said, okay, let's talk about God, is what how I got into that.
Good
I
stuff.
said, well, let's talk about God. And all of a sudden you could feel all the sphincters shut, closed, you know, in the audience, you know, God. So I said, yeah. So I took a little, I mimed a little human being between my thumb and forefinger, you know, a little tiny 1-inch human being. And I put him on top of my microphone, you know, the one that I held in my hand. I put that little man on top of the microphone and I started talking to him, you know, and I said, oh, hi, you're a little human being. Hi, I'm God. What's that between your legs? And all of a sudden, bring on the Kingston Trio from the darkness. And I go, no. Let's just talk about this for a second here. Yeah, you're all naked. Where are you? Where's all your clothes? And what's that between your legs? Bring on the clothes. And then I go, no, wait a minute. Let's just talk about this for a second. And I see this guy come across the dance floor. It was a nightclub, you know, with a beer bottle in his hand upside down. And he said, get the fuck off the stage. Bring on the Kingston Trio. So I got off the stage. You know, I just walked off.
Yeah,
All right, okay, fine.
You know that
You
thing
know,
went
no
badly.
sweat, man. So I got off the stage and I sat at the bar, and the bartender comes over and he says, hey, what the hell are you doing here? And I go, did you see that guy came at me with a beer bottle, man? He was going to hit me. He said, yeah, but you got 10 minutes to go. Kingston Trio doesn't come on for 10 more minutes. And I go, no, man, talk to
Whoa.
that guy. Get him out of here. He's going to hit me. No, get him out of here. I just talk to him or whatever, but I'm not getting on the stage until somebody does something about that guy.
That's wild.
And he says, look, either you get out on that stage and do another 10 more minutes or you're fired. So I said, I'm not going out on the stage until you talk to that guy. And he said, okay. I said, where's a bouncer? I want to talk to the bouncer. And he said, I'm the bouncer. Get on the stage or you're fired. And I go, I'm not going on the stage then. And he goes, okay, you're fired. So I said, okay, fine, goodbye. So I went and I got my overcoat, I was like, I don't know, jacket. And I walked out and it's the middle of a blizzard. It's a snowstorm outside. It's Boston. It's outside of Boston. It's on a highway outside of Boston. So I had to come back in to make a phone call for a cab, which was kind of, you know, dorky. Come back, can I use the phone? What are you doing here? We just fired you. Yeah, but I got to call a cab. It's snowing outside. So I called a cab and I flew back and I called my manager and I said, Well, I don't. Why is this always shifting? I don't know what's going on with this thing. But
It's normally happens to
I
me.
called my manager and I said, "Look, I can't do this anymore. I mean, people are coming at me with beer bottles. I'm being fired." So he said, "Join Second City." That's what he said. He said, "Join Second City." So that's what I did. I auditioned. Wait a minute. Why is this not? Oh, I see. It's my foot. It's me that. Wait a minute. I don't know. Okay, so I went to. He says, yeah. So I went there. I auditioned for Second City, and I became an improviser for Second City. We went to Chicago, and then a couple of us broke off there and went to San Francisco to the committee. So I guess my favorites is all the ones that you my favorite shows, all the ones that you mentioned in the beginning. Breaking Bad, Escape from Alcatraz, Trains, Planes, and Automobiles is probably the funniest movie I've ever
One of the
seen.
funniest movies ever. It is.
Their car ride alone, on the highway and the car blowing up behind the trunk when they're sitting on the trunk. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, John Hughes is amazing. His framing for the jokes are amazing.
That's what people don't look at nowadays with like comedy. It's really in your face, but back in the day it was like really layered.
Yes,
And heavily
yes.
layered to the point some of it you don't even see it unless you watch something 2 or 3 times and there's something going on in the background and you go, what's going on? Oh, there's something, a minor sentence or joke you've missed. Same with any like Mel Brooks film. You can watch that any Mel Brooks film 10 times. Yeah, you can watch any film over and over again and spot something different. Oh my god.
I mean, what was the Blazing Saddles?
Blazing Saddles, yeah. Blazing Saddles is hilarious.
Oh, that's where that
Yeah.
Hey, I don't want you talking to that
There's a lot.
I mean, that would be. See, there a guy would come out with a beer bottle nowadays, or I don't know. I don't know what's going on now. I don't know where comedy is nowadays. I'm a writer now.
Yeah, it's. I mean, people say it's all like woke comedy, but I don't. I don't think that's the case. From a lot of comedy specials I've seen lately, I call bollocks on that. It's.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Bollocks. Exactly.
It's completely just tabloid bullshit that people go, oh well, if that's what it is.
Yeah. It's people. It's just they want to laugh, so they laugh. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's. It
doesn't matter what whatever the context is. This is what's funny as well. Is sometimes as long as the context is right, and you write the joke and you get it crisp, and the laugh will always come because people just go, they just crease. They always want to laugh.
And I watch, a lot of the HBO comedy specials.
Oh, yeah,
because I'm still into stand up. That's my favorite. Medium.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of it, it's not funny. I mean, some of it is. I mean, Bill Burr is funny.
Bill Burr is he's really good.
I mean, his vitriol is beautiful. And people like that, George Carlin, Richie Pryor, but those are 90s. The people are trying to do that now, but they're reaching.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, the thing is, like, people are always trying to. I mean, people always take from their favorite comedians as well. They'll take little bits inadvertently.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's inadvertently done just because they. It's like if you're a rock star, if you're in a band and you want to be like Metallica, you sort of play like them, don't you? Because you want to get the style.
Yeah, you take little riffs,
little bits.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of a comedy, isn't it? Really, because
that's
take little
standing on the shoulders of somebody else.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not called stealing.
No, it's not stealing. No, it's like replicating in a
it's standing on the shoulders of the past.
Okay, yeah. That's true,
Robin Williams was accused of that. Well, Milton Berle. I don't know if you even know of Milton Berle, but all the old timers, they did that habitually. I mean, it was part of their act that I stole this. Milton Berle was always being accused of it, and Robin Williams too.
I didn't realise that until a couple of years ago. I'm a big Robin Williams fan, but I didn't realise until a couple of years ago that he was a profound joke stealer, you know. And I was like,
Oh,
really? It was
he was,
crazy.
well, because he was that was my era. In other words, when I was doing stand up, he was doing stand up, and he would just, it was a little before Mork and Mindy.
Right, okay,
So
yeah.
I would hear about, and I knew Robin. I mean, because we would cross paths in nightclubs or whatever. And he would be accused of stealing. He never stole any of my material. He never saw my act, I don't think, but he heard about me. But anyway, yeah, he was always being accused of stealing. He said, "No, don't let Robin see your act."
Or like
You
buying
know?
jokes as well is something else. Is you know, if you need a quick dollar, you can just go, well, you know.
And then the other thing is also, and I know people with his kind of mind. I mean, they're like vacuums. I mean, they
Oh
don't even
yeah,
know
yeah,
they're stealing. They're just,
yeah, yeah. No, I
you
get
know,
it.
and he just,
I kind
just,
of half do it myself in a way. Some people are just like information machines where they can
yeah,
just input something and then it just whirls around the cogs and comes out a different style. And
yeah, yeah.
it's
And then you go, oh, or sometimes you don't even know it. You know,
no,
somebody, hey,
you
isn't
don't.
that somebody? Oh, right, yeah, I heard that.
I've had to call myself on it a few times in my show. I'm like, oh, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, oh no, wait, I wasn't thinking about it. I heard it. I was like, wait a
Right.
minute, call him. I call I've done it a few times. Called bullshit on myself. So during all these years, is there any? I mean, is there any specific project you wished you could have done? Because there's so many films during these
No,
decades.
you know, there's only one. I don't think that way.
Okay.
I was, I got it from another actor, actually. Actually, not even an actor, a model, a graphic, a clothes model,
Okay.
graphic
Yeah. Yeah.
photo magazine. A kid. He was a young kid. He was about 18. I was watching television, and he was being interviewed, and they asked him about rejection. You know, well, what if you don't get that modeling job? How do you feel about that? And he said, well, you know, my manager, my agent told me, don't, you can't look at it that way. It's just, um, you go in, you do your audition, and then forget it, you know, and just go on to the next audition. And either you get the job or you don't. But
Right. Okay.
meanwhile, you're on to other things. You can't take it personally. It's not. And this is an 18-year-old kid, and I was about, you know, like 25 or 30 or whatever. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, that's so I never ever look back or reject it. But so there's only one that I wanted and I didn't get, and I still remember it. But
Well, I mean,
you know, it's just
not even
uh,
something that you put out for necessarily. Just like any sort of film, you know.
well, I just thought it was such a great part for me. Not, it wasn't a great part. It was just I wanted to do it.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, it was a Keanu Reeves movie when he was doing that "Hey Dude" character. It was you know, there was a couple. It was him and another guy,
Yeah.
and they were
Bill and
two.
Ted.
What?
Bill and Ted.
Yeah, Bill and
Yeah.
Ted's Great Adventure.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the tall ghost-like white figure who
Oh
that
yeah, yeah,
ghost-like
yeah.
figure. Okay, I auditioned for that
Oh
and I didn't get it. And I
oh.
wanted to get that part because it was just such a weird part. You know, I don't think anybody ever even noticed that part ever. But
No,
I
I know
auditioned
exactly
for it
what you
and I
mean.
didn't get it. And I go, God damn it, man! I should have got that. You know, but you know, it was just one thing that just kind of hit my memory and got stored there. But
Well,
it was not a great part that I really wanted. It was
well, I
just,
mean, you've always
oh
played
damn it.
these like quirky characters as well,
Well, I
which
always
is a
wanted to
perfect
do
role for
that.
that as well.
Yeah, because they're easy to play. Because I never really wanted. I mean, first of all, I'm dyslexic, so and one of the things about my dyslexia is I can't memorize a lot of lines. It's very hard. I mean, I do it, but it takes me a long time. You know,
Yep.
I need a lag time of 3 or 4 days. And the bigger the part, generally, the more time you have before you have to shoot it. But then there came a cutoff time where the parts were too big and the time was too short.
Right.
And so I said, okay, don't even send me up for this. I won't be able to memorize it in time. So I would start turning down the bigger parts. And what is going on? What?
I'm glad this is the loosest. Don't worry about it. This is the loosest podcast on the web.
Yeah, I know, but
I've
it
claimed
just
that title
bothers the
officially.
hell out of me. Anyway, yeah, so I just didn't pay any attention anymore. You know, I just go along, but I never revered any. But I was always quirky because they're easy.
Yeah.
You know, I as an improviser in Second City and the committee for 10 years, I did that. A quirky character shouts at you what to do because it's a quirky character. In other words, it's like, you know, be weird written on the forehead, you know, and you go, oh, okay. And I can just fall into it, and I don't have to do too much homework, and the lines are easy, and they're not many. Generally, a weird character doesn't have much to do. So I just have 1 or 2 or 3 scenes. And that was enough for me. You know, all I wanted was the money to make my little film shorts. That's what I was into, film shorts and drawing and painting.
Well, even
So,
then, I've looked at your art behind you. I'll keep
yeah.
glancing at it. It's really, really good. Like, it's
Yeah,
really
there's, let me see. Is it here? Oh, here. Yeah, wait a minute. Okay. Stay right there. Don't
It's
go
like-
anywhere.
No, it's no worries. Well, we've got this minor
Here.
like and
It's
subscribe,
gone.
people.
I had T-shirts. I have T-shirts with them on. there.
Oh, cool. Where can people find
Oh,
them? Do you sell them?
Okay. Well, anyway. So yeah. So I those paintings are. So yeah, I make those paintings. They're like museum prints. They're about $400 a piece. But I put them on T-shirts for $13. So if you go to my website, that's what I'm selling. The website.
Yeah.
So it's thereallarryhankin.com. And there's my T-shirts, my paintings, my some of my movies, my little film shorts, thereallarryhankin.com. And you can't go to larryhankin.com because that's being held for ransom.
Someone's trying to.
They want me to pay them to release it. So I
Ah.
just said, nah, thereallarryhankin.com.
I used to work with a guy that bought and sold domain names. And
really? Yeah.
yeah,
well,
and I was like, man, you're a fucking idiot, because he'd mortgaged his house.
holy cow.
He really went in deep. But I mean, way down the line, I could imagine. I haven't heard from him for years, but I could imagine that he's probably got some serious domain names by now. But he'd just buy ridiculous amounts. You know, every time he'd get paid, he'd buy 5 new domain names. And then live off Monster Energy drink.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
it's
only
just
need
nuts.
one. I mean, but as long as you can keep it safe. But so thereallarryhankin.com. That's the only thing. And also this book. I'm writing a book. It's all the show business stories that kind of I've been hinting at or telling you about.
Yep.
But it's a whole book of from the time I graduated college until the last show I did was what was it? It was Barry. Yeah, I
Barry,
did
yeah,
that.
that's really good. Yeah, Barry's amazing. That's a
really great show.
really that gets your mind thinking as well, because again, he's acting himself. Bill Hader.
Yeah, he's a great director. He directed.
Very good in that. He's very good.
Yeah, and so that was the last show, and then the parts got just too big for me to memorize, so I just dropped out. I gave up my. I became a writer. I just maybe I didn't. I dropped out. I stepped aside. I stepped out. I don't know. I didn't retire. I mean, I'll still do acting, but I only do it for friends. Well, parts that I can memorize, and I have enough time to memorize it.
There's quite a lot of stuff coming up. Is there if there was something that you could work in particular that film wise that's coming up? What would you? Is there anything that you'd want to look into or get involved in?
No, I want to get this book out. The book is called That Guy because everybody, that's what they call me. Oh, you're that guy, you know, from
Yeah.
Friends. Oh, you're
Got-
that guy from
got ya.
Breaking Bad. Oh, you're that guy. So that's the name of the book. It's called That Guy. It'll come out. I don't know. I'm looking for a literary agent, right?
I
God
wouldn't worry about
damn
it.
it.
Don't worry, you're not on your side, are you?
No, I can't even correct it. I'll just try to aim it, yeah. So
Oh yeah.
there's a loose wire down by my foot, and I can't.
Yeah, I know what
fix
you
it.
mean. I know what you mean now. You're working blind on your side now.
It went out.
No, I mean like because you have to move your foot. So obviously, for you to center it, you're working blind because you've got no
Oh,
screen.
I'm working blind. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But I'm trying to, get
Yeah,
this.
yeah. You're spot on. It's pretty. It's literally dead on the same. That's pretty
Right.
impressive.
So anyway, that's what was going. That's what is going on with my advertising anyway.
So, obviously, if you've worked with so many different directors, if you could have worked with any director in your life, who would you have
Well,
picked?
you can't because you don't know how the directors really are to work with. I mean, like for instance, John Huston. Of course, you want to. Of course, the screen is changing now. Of course, you want to work with great directors, but you really don't know. Each director is different, and each director doesn't know how another director works because they're not actors, they're directors. So they don't work for other directors. So each director is totally unique. So, yeah, I would love to work with John Huston, and I did in Annie. I worked with John Huston, and it was great working with him, but I could have never imagined what it would be like to work with John Huston. He maybe he's a cruel guy. Maybe he's a martinet. Maybe no, he's just John Huston is really just a great human being. That's what he is. I just loved working with him, around him, for him. So I never had a wish list because be careful what you wish for because you just may get it. So I never wished for anything. I just kind of, auditioned and hope, yeah, but not wish. So John Huston was a great director to work for. Larry David was a quirky director to work for.
That would have been. I'm a big fan of Larry David.
Well, yeah, he's great.
Curb is amazing.
But he's weird, I mean, he doesn't. Like for instance, here's the direction he gave me. So we were doing Seinfeld, and he stands on the side. Larry David stands on the side. He's not the director. A guy named Tom is the director. And basically, Tom is a traffic manager, where the cameras go. And, it's a 3-camera shoot. But Larry David watches the performance. And so he'll call you over, which is kind of nice. Like he'll call over Michael Richards and he'll say, "Hey, Michael, I want to talk to you." He said, "Everybody hold it. I want to talk to Michael." So and then he just talks to you privately. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what he's saying. So and then when Michael would go back into the scene after talking to Larry David, Michael Richards would be funnier. And I always wondered, what the hell did he tell him? I mean, and the scene would be funny. And I go, I want some of that Larry David magic dust. I just, and then one day he says, everybody hold it. I want to talk to Larry. And I go, oh man, he's going to make me funnier. Oh, this is going to be so cool. I'm going to find out what he tells the other actors. So he pulls me over to the side and he says, and I was doing Tom Pepper, who was going to be the actor who imitated Kramer.
Yeah.
So Larry David calls me over and he says, and he whispers to me. He's very intimate. He goes, "I know what you're trying to do." And the word "trying" just struck me, just punched me in the stomach. What do you mean trying? I'm a professional. That's how I took it. was an insult, trying. I'm not trying anything. I'm doing it, man. So I go, what do you mean by trying? So he says, I know what you're trying to do. And then I said, oh, really? What am I trying to do? And he goes, you're trying to do nothing, which blew my mind because that's exactly what I was trying to do. I was trying to be Buster Keaton, deadpan, Tom Pepper, deadpan. So I was so surprised that I just got, oh, right. You know, I just changed my attitude. I said, right. Yeah. I'm trying to do nothing. And he just leaned in a little closer and he said, well, you're doing something. And then he walked away. I thought, that's the greatest piece of direction I've ever gotten.
Brilliant. That's genius.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's John Huston and there's Larry David. And then there's all the other ones. And each director is different totally because they don't know how other directors work. So there's nothing to copy from, nothing to steal from. They just have to make it on their own. You know, maybe in class they saw it way back when they started. But so I never, when I started to realize that, I just never had a wish list about anything. Even, you know, oh, I wish I could, you know, work with, you know, Bryan Cranston or you know, Alec Baldwin or, you know, Johnny Depp or whatever. I just never, because you never.
Another one of them. He's a legend, isn't he? You know, Bryan Cranston.
Well, legends, but you never know until you get, like, Bryan Cranston is the greatest guy to work with because he's such a giving actor. He makes you better. Yep. He gives you the scene. He'll go anywhere where you want to go.
You can see it in the film or anything is in. Sorry.
What?
You can see it with anything that is in.
Oh.
Like 100%.
Amazing. And then Clint Eastwood is just almost the opposite. He feeds off your energy. He's like a cork. Clint Eastwood doesn't give you anything. He what he does is he lets you go and then he rides on your energy. He like floats on whatever's going on. Like, you know, I come in like here. You know, we'd be, okay, we're doing, because most of my scenes were with him.
I've got you.
So he'd come in like this, and then I go, blah, 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 blah. And then he would just, I don't know, his answer would just go. So I go, yeah, well, and then he would just, just, you know, no matter, but with the ease. I mean, he wouldn't get as angry as I was, or as energetic, or as intense, or whatever I was. He wouldn't imitate it. He would just ride it, you know, just, and I would just, you could just feel that floating thing he would do. So you can't beat him. You can't be better than Clint Eastwood. You can't be better.
Some of my favorite films are Clint Eastwood. You know, again, like I said earlier, you know, growing up, especially the old spaghetti westerns. You know, like Two Mules for Sister Sarah and stuff like that. And there's loads. I mean, he did tons of them, but they're just so good. And I mean, like people like Tarantino try. I mean, it's yet to quite get there. I think he should really do a full spaghetti western. I don't know if I could work. See now, if I don't know if I could work with Tarantino. I'd imagine it'd be
very specific,
tricky.
like Spielberg. I heard two actors talking about Spielberg, two major actors, big stars, who were talking about one of them. Liam Neeson was one of them. Liam Neeson was talking about being directed by Steven Spielberg in that Nazi thing where he saved all the Jews. It was a black and white movie.
Yeah, Schindler's List.
Schindler's List. He was talking about he didn't like working with Steven Spielberg to another major star. I can't remember who he was talking to, but so Liam Neeson was saying, I don't like working with, you know, he was telling me what to do. So, Steven Spielberg was directing him, you know, telling him, no, don't do it this way, do it that way.
Direction, isn't it?
It's what?
It's direction. That's kind of, you know, if you're a director, that's kind of your job.
Yeah, you directing is not directing. I've never been directed. What you do is you give a hint as to what would help you get to where I need you to go, but I'm not going to give you the roadmap to it.
Right.
just-
Okay. Yeah. Following you.
So he was saying, so the other actor said, well, why? What was he doing? So Liam said, well, he was telling me how to look, don't, smile and then get really angry. He was and it was a close up. So, and I didn't like that. I was going to quit. And they were doing it. It was on the set. It was a film of them talking privately. They were doing a movie of the making of Schindler's List. And they caught these two actors talking. And one was a star and Liam was a star. And Liam says, I think I'm going to quit. And the other actor was telling him not to quit. Just go along with it. He's a great director. Don't question what he's asking you to do. Just do it. It's his way. So Liam says, okay. But so there I kind of absorbed the fact that, well, maybe I shouldn't ever work with Steven Spielberg, because I don't like that either. I don't like being given exact directions.
I don't know a lot, but I've always sort of took Spielberg as the same sort of Kubrick-esque director.
Yeah.
That sort of mentality. I mean, again, they was meant to have worked together on AI.
Right.
It never happened because obviously Kubrick passed away. And then obviously, Spielberg got the scripts, whatever, But I've always seen like directors as always like that. I've never really thought, I know that they do give hints and stuff, but for like most standard people out there, they just see directors giving direction. They don't think, hey, we'll just let it fly. We'll do a bit of improv, see how it rolls.
Yeah. Like I say, each director is different, and some will sense how they should talk to you. That's John Huston is a master at that. When he didn't direct me, here's what I've found in 40 years of and 200 jobs, 200 auditions. Is
imagine more than that.
yeah, right. The auditions is right. Probably 500 to 1,000. They kind of suss out the great directors all do one thing the same, so I worked with like 3 or 4. So I'm just assuming they don't direct. They do not give directions. And John Huston capped it when in an interview he said 80% of a director's job is in the casting. You do not direct your actors. You cast the right actor because you approve of his historic choices in other parts the actors have done. Has done. So that's what John Huston does. He casts the right people and leaves them alone to make the proper choices. And if you don't make the proper choice, I'm sure he'll nudge you, but he never says do this or do that, whereas Spielberg does, and several other directors do. Now, Spielberg is a great director, so I can't, second guess him.
No.
But the great directors I've worked with, all of them never gave me direction. Like Larry David, I know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a
you see,
level,
he gave me a key into getting to where he needed me to be. So I know what you're doing. What am I doing? You're trying to do nothing. Well, you're doing something. He didn't tell me what to do.
They've lined up the nail and the hammer for you.
Yes, and then he said, well, now you go do it. That's what great directors do. They give you a hint, but they don't tell you. And Liam Neeson was expressing his umbrage at Steven Spielberg going off book, off what directors are supposed to be doing. But however you get there, I mean, the bottom line is the frame and the movie, not the director, not the cinematographer, not the actor. It's the story that's up on the screen. That's what counts. That's what movies are all about.
No, that
You know,
makes
the
sense.
end product.
100%. So I want to talk about this because it's one of my favorite films, Billy Madison.
Oh my God!
I mean, I've wanted to bring it up the whole show again. I wanted to say it the whole time. Crazy Carl. I mean, I wanted to get into it a little bit after. I know again I needed a quick piss break, but I wanted to make sure. Again, I'll admit this. Before the show, I had to have several beers. There was a moment I had the sweats. I was like, man, this is crazy. Carl, you're talking to tonight. I was like, oh, this is kind of wild. So I do want to get into it. I mean, but I wanted to get into it an hour in after I got all my excitement out of the way. So it's one of my favorite films. Features some of the best comedy legends ever. Chris Farley, Adam Sandler. You know that. But your role was always funny. I always loved Crazy Carl. It was just the bounce back between you and Adam Sandler. It was great. It always just worked. Like he was always on your side, fucking everybody else off. So what was it like to work on that?
It was a horror trip.
Wow. A horror trip. Okay.
I don't think I would ever work with Adam Sandler again, although
Really?
he's great. I just his way, because he would direct too, because it was his movie and everything. And he's a control freak, and he's a user. He gives you stuff that will set you off. That he gets you angry enough to do what he wants.
I got you.
Whereas Larry David just gives you hints as to how you should go about getting to what he wants. Adam Sandler just pissed me off the entire time I was there.
That's crazy.
And I would say 50% of it, if not way more, was on purpose, on his terms. Like that crazy laugh that I do.
Yeah.
That's Adam Sandler.
Wow.
That's not me. That's I didn't want to do that. He tricked me into doing that. He literally he worked on my naivete and my good graces, graces, to get me to do that laugh. He called me up. We were having lunch. Everybody was eating lunches at different tables, cafeteria style, on a lot and so he called me over. Hey, Larry, come over here. So I was sitting at another table. So he called me over to his table and he says, I hear you do this weird mouse thing. What is that? So I go, where did you hear about that? She goes, never mind. What is it? Somebody said it's pretty funny. I said, no, it's something I used to do when I was in public school and in high school, maybe, just to get laughs in the cafeteria. Well, what is it? Well, I don't want to do it. It's nothing. It's just stupid. It's stupid. It's a kid's thing. No. What is it? Well, that's all I had to say, man. It's a kid's thing.
Yeah.
That's where he goes immediately.
Yeah,
a kid's thing. Wow. And kids thought it was funny. What is it? And I said, no, man, it's stupid. And I kept on saying that to him. And he says, no, come on. I said, look, can I just go finish my dinner? And he goes, my lunch. And he goes, no, all right, I'll let you go as long as you just do it. I said, okay, but I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to go back. He said, all right, well, what is it? So I did that laugh, that thing, so for his girlfriend out in the back there in that scene. So I go, and I did a funny face. I'm not going to do any of it.
No.
I did that funny face. So he goes, and then the people at his table, which was the producer and the director and whatever, they all laughed. They said, oh, ha, ha. Well, they didn't laugh, but they go, oh, ha, that's funny. So Adam said, hey, that's funny. And I said, well, I don't think it's funny. I'm going to go back and finish my lunch. Okay. He says, yeah, thanks. And I go back and I finish my lunch. After lunch, me and Adam had this scene in the gazebo, wherever that was,
Yeah.
with his girlfriend, where he introduces Carl to his girlfriend, and he says, "Carl, do that funny laugh." So that's not in the scene. The laugh is not in the scene, and that line is not in the scene. It's just, this is my girlfriend, this is Carl. That's it. And then in the middle of the first take, Adam goes, "Hey, Carl, why don't you do that funny laugh you do for my girlfriend here?" Now, I was still naive. It was early in my career. I'm still trying to, be a good guy and do my work and be cool on the set. And I'm working with Adam, and it's his movie. And in the middle of the scene, and I was an improviser, Second City. So without thinking, because I'm used to people throwing lines at me, from the committee, he just threw me this. He just said, hey, Carl, why don't you do that laugh for this, my girlfriend? And so I did it partially. What you see in the movie is a partial, not really wanting to do the whole full Monty of that laugh that I did at the table. But I hated myself for doing it as I was doing it. I said, this fucker, he just tricked me into doing this on camera. So I did it and continued with the scene. And then as soon as the director yelled cut, Adam said, "Let's move on," because he knew I wouldn't do it again.
He got the take. Yeah.
He got the take and he wouldn't do it. And from then on, man, I was his fucking enemy. I just, he's the lowest. And then he would do other things. He would do other things to just rile me.
It's
so
crazy
I have
as well,
no.
It's like, I mean, when you watch it on screen, it's like there's a really good chemistry in a way, but it seems like
he goes
so
for the
strange.
audience. He knows his
yeah.
audience, and he said, if the audience think this is funny, it's in. I don't care what I have to do or who I have to alienate to get this joke.
To get the bit, yeah.
In. And that I don't like. That I take umbrage.
I mean, I'm not a fan of the big laugh. I just like
no. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying where I'm at as a vis-a-vis Adam and that type of usury. It's usury. It's fucking with somebody to get an end result that is not where the being used is at. It's using somebody. It's I don't. And then he did. I mean, that's a prime example. But there were other examples that I could give you about Adam and me, where that, this is not working, man. But it works in the movie, like you said, the relationship between Adam and Carl. Well, Triscuits, and blah blah blah, where it worked for the movie, but. I like, for instance, I'll give you for instance, on Escape from Alcatraz, the warden, what's his name? McGowan, Patrick McGowan.
Yeah.
Patrick McGowan never hung out with anybody, and he also drank a lot in his dressing room. Now, the only reason I say a lot is because when he got on the set, I could smell liquor on his breath. I mean, that's the only reason. Liquor on your breath is a lot. That's all. I'm not making a condemnation of the guy. But in the movie, and I asked Clint Eastwood, I said, he would only, Patrick McGowan would stay in his dressing room the entire time. He was never on the set. He would only come on the set a couple of seconds before his scene was up. Where he was ready to step into the scene. He would just come on the set and then maybe, count to 20 and they say, "Okay, we're ready for you, Mr. McGowan." And they would step in and he would go in.
Marlon Brando.
Exactly. But I could smell the liquor on his breath. And one time, just when me and Clint were standing together waiting to go into a scene, I said, "Hey, do you ever talk to Patrick McGowan?" And he said, "No, he's never around. He just stays in his dressing room." And they said, "Oh, that's weird. I don't see him either. He just stays in the dressing room." I never mentioned what?
Sorry, is that the same guy that was in?
Yes.
He was in.
Yes.
The
Escape thing?
No, there's another film that I'm thinking of. That I think he was in. He was in Journey to the Center of the Earth. Is that the same
I don't
guy?
know, probably.
Patrick
I mean,
McGowan?
he's a working actor, man.
I
I
think
mean,
it's
he
Patrick
did a lot
McGowan.
of leads and co-star leads.
The Scottish guy in it.
Yeah. And he was
Yeah,
in a big hit, TV, black and white, big hit.
I
That
think
well,
it
I
is the
watched
same
all
guy.
the time. It was about escaping from this prison that was like in another century or another world. A big ball would come and get you and roll over you.
Oh, yeah, that thing. Yeah, I know that as well.
Well, that's Patrick McGowan. Yeah, so he
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
big
yeah.
star to me. I looked up to him because I grew up with that TV show. Anyway, I asked Clint. He said no, he never did. And then when I watched the movie, I saw, wow, if he was drinking and not hanging out, that read on screen as a really stern ass warden, man, and it worked. And if the drinking, I don't know how much he drank. Maybe it was only one shot right before he came out. Whatever it
Yeah.
was, the deadening of the dead eyes in the film, not on the set, but the dead eyes and the dead face that he assumed for the character
Yep.
in that film worked. And I kind of thought maybe it's because he wasn't hanging out. He didn't want to establish contact. Maybe
Right.
that was part of his actor prepares. You do whatever it takes to get
Yep.
you into the
Get into
role.
the role.
You know,
Yeah.
and a lot of actors have different preparations. I have to prepare. I mean, because of dyslexia, I have to concentrate on memorizing my lines. You can't bother me before I go on. I can't talk to anybody before I go on. I have to think about my lines. Other people can talk to me, have a conversation about the man in the moon, and then just, hey, you ready? And then just walk onto the set and blah, 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 and do a perfect take. That blows my mind. So each actor, and so I figured Patrick McGowan, like Adam Sandler, that was a way of preparing to alienate or remove himself from the other actors so it reads on screen better. So, you don't question actors' preparation or why they're doing something
No,
beforehand.
I get that. One of the other things, again, that I wanted to talk about was Home Improvement. Again, you seem to always consistently play a Larry, which is easier for yourself, I guess.
Yes.
And the character in Home Improvement was Larry, and that was a very crazy role. And
Now, wait a minute. Was that the one on the Halloween show?
yes, it was. The episode, I believe, was called. It was something. It was like almost like the American Werewolf thing, but it was the Taylor name.
I don't know names. Remember?
No, my head's like a shitty Trevor Trove of knowledge. It'll
Oh,
come out eventually.
I'm
It's
just
like,
opposite, man. Well,
no,
I have trivia, but it comes out when it
I
wants,
think
not when
I think
want.
it was, if I can recall, I think it was like season 6, episode 2,
I
or
don't know. I
something
mean,
like
I
that.
just remember the role. I was wearing a black suit, and I seemed to be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
mysterious or haunting or scary but I was just a guy.
Yeah, it was one of my, again, when I was a kid growing up, it was one of those weird scenes that always stuck with me.
Why?
'Cause I used
Well,
to be a big
what
fan.
about it?
Just I don't know. I've always been a big fan of like Halloween episodes.
Oh, right,
of
yeah.
things. As a kid, I used to love Halloween, so whenever there'd be a Halloween
I mean,
episode on or something.
You mentioned, you just said that you. Well, what did you say? I can't remember.
The Halloween.
Yeah, about watching it. There's something about me being me. Doing Larry.
Yeah.
Being Larry.
The Larry, yeah.
But that's just a standard actor, lead actor thing. You got to play yourself as the character. In other words, you can't you don't get rid of yourself. You use
Right, okay.
yourself as the character, and see that's the difference between a character actor and a lead actor. A character actor pretends to be the character. A lead actor uses himself to be the character.
Right.
There is a difference. One is you stay yourself, and the other is you become a character. And leads don't become a character. I mean, Liam Neeson is Liam Neeson.
Yeah,
You
that
know.
makes sense. I've said this to a lot of people. It's like there's so many actors nowadays that are just themselves. They don't.
Yeah,
They're just them.
and they yeah, and they just put it
Tricky.
like a glove. They just put it on.
Yeah.
You know. So I've always tried to just be myself. But the thing about that is, for me, the problem there was I never knew who I was. So being myself, yeah, worked for the character, but it didn't help me formulate other characters. In other words, I could only be myself as a character actor. So that limited my
The range.
range. It limited my range because I was only one kind of character, who I was. No, that's being a lead. In other words, I was always being the lead as a character.
Yeah. But that's sort of what is strange as well, because obviously I've seen you in so many things, and there's a lot of times just like I said, you use the word your first name Larry or whatever, and like to me, it's like I don't know. I might be wrong on this, but you know, when you speak about leads, and there's people like you say, like Liam Neeson. You get people like Johnny Depp, who is almost like a character actor, but he is a lead role.
Right.
But he's never won an Oscar, which is very strange. Like these people that play themselves. Leonardo DiCaprio, it took him so long to get an Oscar, and he's another one of them. He's played so many different roles, but it took him, I don't know, whatever the fix is.
Sometimes it doesn't work. Have you seen Don't Look Up?
Yeah, the new one, yeah.
He's awful in it.
Yeah, it's not.
Wait a minute, that's not Johnny Depp. Who is that? Oh,
that's DiCaprio. It's DiCaprio, yeah.
DiCaprio. He's awful in it because because he doesn't know what the character is. He doesn't have the slightest idea of what he's doing. I couldn't watch it. I had to turn off the. I couldn't watch it.
I had to watch it. I mean, I unfortunately I multitask a lot, so like I'm binging stuff all the time just to keep up to date with stuff, and then I'm watching the news 24/7.
Well, let me ask you. I mean, could you watch that movie? I mean, did it bother you? His performance?
I personally think it wasn't his best performance.
To me, it was like the exact same thing as a musician hearing a wrong note being played out of tune all the time. Like his instrument was out of tune. It was just, I couldn't watch it. I had to turn it off. It was amazing.
He certainly didn't resonate with any audience, but there is roles where there's very few that you do see him. The only one that I will mention where he was on par was Django. I mean,
Johnny Depp. Oh man, that was amazing.
No, Django Unchained. You know the Quentin Tarantino one with DiCaprio.
Oh yeah, he has hit some really cool. I mean, whatever happened to somebody great was amazing.
Oh yeah, Gilbert Grape.
Gilbert, that's amazing.
DiCaprio. Even then, like Johnny Depp, so shit that he got blacklisted for a bunch of scandalous crap.
He's a badass. I mean, no, he's bad. He has a reputation. I had a reputation and then I got rid of it. Thank God, as being hard to work with on the set, because I thought acting was, I do it my way and leave me alone. That's how I started out. Because because I was still in the improv mode of, I do my character, you do your character, and don't write for me, and I won't write for you. Improv, but we share. I mean, so I came to acting with that. Like I got my guy, and the director would say, well, they would give me direction, whatever, the good kind of direction, the bad kind of direction, and I would fight it because I couldn't take direction. And it took me a while to drop that. Larry, this is not improv. You did nobody else is improving here. This is all written down. You have to hit your marks. You can't just wander around. I mean, you got to say the right words, and so yeah, it was difficult for me. But Johnny Depp had that reputation, and it's gotten worse. I mean, he can't keep a girlfriend. I mean, the guy is just weird.
Well, I mean, it's a shame because he was involved in one of the biggest, the Harry Potter franchise next films, and they kicked him off. They've replaced him with Mads Mikkelsen, whatever his name is. The
Jack Nicholson?
No, Mads Mikkelsen. You know the guy that was in Hannibal, the series.
Yeah, no, I don't know that movie.
He's in this TV series, Hannibal.
I don't watch.
He's been in a
TV.
few things. I only binge series, so I don't watch any soaps or any crap like that. But I watch.
I have too much to do. I'm a
No.
writer. I gotta write.
Oh no, I get it. I mean, most of the time, if I'm not podcasting, I'm either listening to podcasts or listening to stand-up or documentaries. And even then, I'll have like a film on in my ear, and then occasionally I'll look across.
It's important for you what you do. I mean, to me, it seems like that would be a cool thing to do.
But no, it's a shame with Johnny Depp. But you're right.
He's a lead character actor.
Yeah, it's a weird. There's a weird crossover between. I don't know if that's just my opinion. I'm not.
No, I agree with you. I totally agree. But the where they played the undercover cop.
Oh yeah, the new film that didn't get released with a Biggie and Tupac. Was it that one?
No, no. He did it a couple of years ago. He got into the mafia. He was an undercover cop, and he was nearly caught a lot of times.
Yeah.
Well, he was brilliant in that, and he was just Johnny Depp.
He was
as
really
an undercover cop, and he was, because his life was being threatened at any moment. If he was discovered, they would just shoot him. So that intensity, he had that all the time. It was riveting. But he's a good actor. But he also is a lead character actor too. And Leonardo DiCaprio is the same way. I've seen him in several movies, Leonardo, where he just didn't cut it. He just didn't know what he was doing.
Here's another one that I forgot to mention that just sparked up in my brain. What was it like working on Pain and Gain?
That was great because of the two guys, Michael Bay and The Rock.
Yeah.
I mean, the part of the movie wasn't worth 2 cents, but I got to talk to Michael Bay and hang with him, and I got to talk and hang with The Rock, and that was it was worth the price of admission. Whatever it took to audition to get the part.
I would have imagined it would have been a cool set. Again.
Well, it was a huge movie, even though it was a small movie. In other words, Michael Bay had been doing all the, what do you call it?
Transformers.
What do you call them?
Transformers. It was
Transformers. So he had huge budgets with the Transformers. So he wanted to do his own movie, and he had made enough money for the production company to say, I want to do this movie, Pain and Gain. And they said, I've made you enough money. Give me money. I want to make this movie. So they gave him $20 million, which is not a lot. But for a small movie, it's a lot. It's like he was making a $5 million movie, and they gave him $20 million. So it was amazing what Michael Bay at his command for that small movie. I mean, he had an army's worth of mechanical movie machinery and trucks and cranes, several different kinds of cranes and rigs and rigging and crews. There was about at least 100 crewmen, and we did it on location in Florida. What the heck? So I can't move my feet. If I move my feet at all, the wire down there. I think it's a rat's nest under this desk. And or there are rats under the desk. Either one. I don't know. So I was fascinated with all the things that he had at his command. Like he would sit in his director's chair, and I would sit next to him. I would sit next to Michael Bay. I brought over a director's chair and I just put it next to him. And he said, "You're going to sit here?" And I said, "Yeah. You mind?" He said, "No, it's okay." So I said, "Okay, fine." So I just, and then, what? Were you going to say something?
That's the way to do it. Get bold.
Yeah. I just want to, So I sat next to him, and then I would, because he was worthwhile sitting next to. Other directors, you do what you have to do. Because what he would do is he would command things. He would yell over his shoulder, sit on the director's chair, sitting in front of this church that he was going to photograph or he was going to film. And he would say, "I'll bring in crane number 7 and give me an arc over here and bring in the truck with the thing." And he would, and then in the next block, we were sitting outside on the street in front of a church, and the whole next block was just lined up with movie machinery on wheels, cranes and trucks and things. Then he would call, and then somebody, a runner, or they would get on the phone or something. "Hey, bring in number 7 and bring in a dolly with the number and some lenses and and they would call in all this stuff. It was just fucking amazing. And then, so that was the thing about Michael Bay. His mind was, the guy has I don't know if he's a genius, but he has that kind of genius working in there.
Savant,
this, like this warehouse of just information and technical stuff. He had technical crap in there that he would just call out numbers and units, and that was amazing. That's why I wanted to sit next to him, just for what was inside his brain. What he was calling out.
That's why I was a big fan of Kubrick. I'm a huge fan of Kubrick, and
like Kubrick, that you got it. Yeah,
savant, exactly. Isn't he? He did like what he used to do, like advanced mathematics in his spare time.
Yeah. He's like a
playing
planetary.
Chess, it used to just, again, it's people like that. It's just savants. You just can't quite.
I think they make it because of the information that's in their head. But okay, so anyway, that was Michael Bay. The thing about Rock, I used to hang out again, not sit next to him, but be near or around him. I was just fascinated with his musculature and how you get that. He would, two things about him. One is he's the nicest guy you ever want to meet. He's about as nice as John Candy. That's about as good as you can get. So he was just a great guy, friendly, and he always was eating. Not a lot, but he always had a cup of something, a little spoon. He's eating some yogurt, or he had a little, something, just a little sandwich, a half a sandwich, a quarter of a sandwich, not much, just nibbling on something all day long. I guess just to keep his, something going.
He's massive though, isn't he?
Oh, he's huge.
I'd imagine you're quite tall. If I was to put a speculation, I'd guess 6'3".
It was it. What?
You're quite a tall guy, aren't you?
Yeah.
I'd imagine you're like 6'3", around there.
Oh yeah, I'm 6'3", yeah, 6'4".
So he's like 5 inches on that. But then when you can, I'm small. I'm 5'7". Like I couldn't imagine
average
standing next to him.
Well, but yeah, he was big and huge, massive, and also. I had to flirt with him. I had to be kind of a homosexual, bi, or at least a bi guy. That's what Bay wanted. He wanted a bi kind of vibe. I don't have to be overt about it, but he wanted me to be attracted to Rock's body. That was the kind of, but he wouldn't say so. He would just giving me hints. Michael Bay would give me hints about, well, could you be a little more sexual with him, so I said, oh, he's taking it in that direction. Okay, fine. And then, so I guess to give Rock more reason to beat me up, because the end of this of my character was he was going to beat me up. So I guess Michael Bay was giving him, I was being too nice as the character. So he wanted to give me or The Rock more reason to beat me up.
You needed to be overtly flirtatious.
Yeah, just something. Yeah, but he never said that. He never said that. Or anything like that. That would give, I just had to assume that's what he wanted. So that was cool. And then the other thing was he was going to beat me up, and there was in the script, it was a big, huge. There wasn't a fight because I couldn't protect myself. It was he just murdered me. I mean, basically, he just bashed me in the script, the writing, not the acting, but the writing. That's how it was written. And at one point, he was supposed to. It's written in the script. There was a fence around this little cemetery that we were doing it behind the church where special people were buried. And we were inside that little fence. It's about a 12-foot by 12-foot fence, square that was fenced off. And we were inside of it. So in other words, when he fought me and beat me up, I couldn't escape. I was fenced in, so I couldn't run away. So at one point in the script, it says he pushes my head through one of the bars, through two of the bars. He pushes my head into it. That's the end of the fight. So what they did was now this is really weird, man, and this spooked me. They had taken a lot of photographs of me before we ever went down to Florida. Right. Photographs of my head all the way around, 360 degrees, about 10 or 15 photos, close-ups of my head, face, back, around. And when I showed up, they showed me a dummy of my head.
Dummy of your head.
A real replica of my face and head and hair. And it just freaked me out, man. And he said, well, this is what he's going to put your head through. He's going to stuff this through the bars. That was really weird. And so I thought, wow, man.
And they did all that of photographs. That's crazy.
Say that. What do you mean?
And they did it like, obviously you said that. I mean, you've been in loads of stuff, but they did that prior to you getting there. They didn't have to do a plaster cast or none of that. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't think so. But it may have been. I don't remember it. I just remember them photographing me a lot in LA, photographing my head. But I have had a plaster cast done, and it always freaked me out. They always wanted to give it to me. And there's only one that I ever took where it didn't freak me out. So it may have been that. But plaster casts back then, and now it doesn't bother me. But back then I was kind of a weird kid. I mean, I was very not weird in that I had a lot of ghosts and stuff. I believed in a lot of weirdness.
I'm a conspiracy theorist, and I'm into the paranormal.
I wasn't that bad or good, but I believed in omens. I believed, it was just because I was so naive. I was afraid of everything. So I just, I got out of it. I cured myself of it. But now being able to look back on it, I see where that comes from. Omens and ghosts and spirituality and stuff like that. It comes from a fear of everything, a fear of life.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, I'm into a lot of crazy, wild stuff. I don't want to get into it on this show. It's
well, it also helps you in your business. I mean,
it's not even that. To some people, it's almost like a coping mechanism. It's
yes, exactly.
Than it is the reality of what your shitty lifestyle is.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's fear what's in the dark and what
exactly
night, rather than what might be coming.
Yeah, I mean, I had palm readers, and certain lines meant certain things, and I was going to die at this point. I mean, I went through all that. I was going to die when I was 33. I mean, I had that in my mind. For when I was 32 until 33, I believed at 33 I was going to die, and I was all prepared and everything. And then 33 and 34 came, and 35 came, and 36 came. And oh man! And then the whole thing just blew up.
It just goes on and on, though, doesn't it? When you get into that level of stuff, it can just spiral. Next.
Yeah, you
it's
just
going
there's
down
no
a rabbit
end.
hole,
There's just
isn't it?
no. So anyway, that was going on. Oh yeah, so he. Oh, there was one thing about Michael Bay. Getting into the artist part of Michael Bay, and it really was true because I didn't understand. I also would follow Rock around and a lot of everybody know them because I was trying to learn. I was so naive. My growing up was so sheltered, so cut off from everything that I was trying to learn as an adult all the things that I never learned as a teenager. I mean, that's literally what was now driving me. So I would hang around with Michael Bay or John Huston, it was learning. I wasn't a fan. I was literally trying to gather enough information to belong in the movie world.
Yep.
Just so there was one time when, I was supposed to open the door for The Rock. I was running the church. I was
The pastor.
the custodian or something of the church.
Yeah.
So The Rock knocks on this door, and the camera is outside. I'm inside. The camera is photographing the door. It's behind The Rock. Rock comes to the door, knocks on the door, and I open it so I'm facing the camera over Rock's shoulder. That's the setup. The door is painted a flat blue. The door is a flat door, and it's painted blue. Okay, that's all you need to know. Okay, so now he knocks on the door. I open the door, blah, blah, blah. Michael Bay says, cut. No, Larry, you're opening the door too wide. I open the door all the way to give you a full shot of me. He said, no, Larry, you don't have to show yourself. Just open the door about halfway. Okay, fine, let's do it again. All right, blah, blah, blah. I knock. I open the door halfway. Michael Bay says, okay, let's do it again. Okay, no, you're still opening the door too much. Well, okay. Go do it again. We do it 4, 5 times, each time less and less, till the last shot, I'm opening the door just a bit and peeking out.
Smidgen, isn't it? Yeah, it's literally a smidgen.
Just a smidgen. Right. So, and then I do that, and then he yells, cut. Okay, moving on. Okay, so I go up to Michael Bay and I go, now what was that all about? I don't understand. What were you trying to do? I mean, you can hardly see my face. He says, yeah, but don't you like the blue of that door? And I just walked away and I go, wow.
The blue of that door.
Now, I believe at the time, I believe that was the reason. I still believe that's the reason. But at the time, I kept on thinking he doesn't want me in the shot. He's trying to hide my face. But not only is it the blue of the door really great, but from the frame's point of view, it's the character that it explains a lot about, right?
It's a good shot.
It's a good shot. And it says something about the character I'm playing, that I open the door a little and there's this huge guy out there. It portends something. He's using everything. In other words, as a director, he's using the lighting, the door, the character, the situation.
It's like
he's making the best of it,
What are some of your own personal favorite films, like for yourself? Not what you've been in.
But just okay. Well, that I can. I get very excited because nobody ever asks me that. In other words, my favorite film, or one of my favorite films.
Yeah.
Okay, Man Bites Dog, without a question. That's my favorite film of all time.
I've heard of that.
Right. It's a feature. It's black and white. It was done in 1968 or 7 or 9. It's a student film that's been released. You can Google it. It's on Amazon, I think, called Man Bites Dog. It's a student film done by three German film students in Germany in a German film school. It was their senior project for graduation. They had to do a feature, and they did a feature. They wrote it and directed it and used, the college, stuff, all their equipment. The premise is just great, and the movie is incredible. What it is three college students, wrote a movie about them making a film for graduation. That's their film. So three college students, those three students, walk into a bar one night, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to write for their college graduation, for their to graduate. So they're sitting at the bar, they're drinking beer. It's at night, and there's a loud noise. So it's the two students, and there's a loud, noisy drunk, which is the third student. So they're all acting in it. The third, there's a loud, noisy drunk right down the bar who's just making a terrible, bothering everybody. So one of the two says, hey, why don't we go talk to him? Because he seems to be bragging about something. So let's go talk to him and do a movie about him. It's a film. So the two students go over to their drunk, and they start talking to him, and he's just blabbering, and he's just loud, and he's noisy, and he's stupid, and he's telling jokes, and he's just being, and they're insistent now. They're going to keep buying him drinks until they hit a nerve. They find out to find out where he's coming from. Well, why is, and finally they get him drunk enough where he confesses to them, drunk, that he's a serial killer. And they go, what? And they go, yeah, sure, I kill people. And they go, wow, man, this is a great story. Let's follow him around. It's for a graduation. That's a great story. So they convince him. They feed him a couple more drinks. They convince him for him to let them follow him around while he kills people, because they want to do a story about him.
I'm going to watch this tonight. This sounds wild. Yeah,
this is just a setup. And to convince him, he goes, what do you mean follow me around? What, to killing people? He said, yeah, because you're going to be a star. This movie, even if you get captured, it doesn't matter. This is going to be you're going to be a star. This film will live forever. If you let us follow you around, we'll make you forever. And he goes, forever? Yeah. So he does it. The movie is about, and they do it. And it is a killer, man. And just be prepared. Be prepared. Not you, I know you're going to be cool, but anybody else listening to me. No, they do all the Stations of the Cross of what that means. They explore the three students. One played a drunk and the other plays the two students. They follow them around. But they explore that concept. And they really do. And the proof is that movie, Man Bites Dog, is still around. It's a German film school film.
I can guarantee I'll watch it later. And my next show, I'll be putting it out there. Well, listen, I'm going to have to. I know we're going to have to. I know we're both busy. My bladder's busy.
I got to work on the book. I mean,
I know you're a more busier guy than me. But listen, this to me has been one of the best pleasures of this year.
Thank you very
literally
much,
speaking to a living legend who I've watched and grew up with.
Thank you
It's
very
been
much.
a very, very good show.
It's a great show. I had a great time.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure for you to come on.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I could have kept this going forever. But again, that doesn't work.
Well, I'll tell you what, when the book comes out, that guy, let's do it again.
I always invite people to come back on. So when the book comes out, come back on. Well, where can people follow you, Larry? Where can...
Okay, well, the book there's two books. I have two books. That guy that will come out because I have to get a publisher. But there's another book that I have out on. It's on Amazon and all the outlets. It's called The Loopholes Dossier. It's a book of satire. It's just a book of satiric fables and satiric biographies. A biography of a politician and a biography of a homeless man, and 7 satirical fables. It's called The Loopholes Dossier. DOSSIER LOOPHOLES. Loopholes Dossier. The Loopholes Dossier. So that's out there. That's pretty good read. Don't bother about the cover. I don't like the cover at all. But the book is really funny. Okay.
I'll
So that's it. Or, oh man.
Don't worry about the camera. It's been a wild one. Listen, tonight we've been here with the legendary Larry Hankin, and it has been a fabulous show. I'll catch you next time, people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank
It's
you.
Tim,
Bye bye.
right? It is Tim.
It is
right?
Tim. It is Tim.
Okay.
Thank you.
man.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Let me just hit that pause.